Everybody, thank you for all being here. My name is Dave Montgomery. I was Chief Administrative Officer with Don Ness and Emily Larson. It's been a while, but I will be serving as Roger Reinert's City Administrator beginning next Tuesday. But I want to welcome you all here to this inauguration of Duluth's 40th mayor, and we will be getting to that shortly. I'm glad you could all make it. We have folks from all over the community. We've got folks here from the county. We've got city councilors. We've got other government officials from the communities around Duluth. So this is a great gathering and nice for everyone to be here to kick off this next administration. I'm going to start by introducing the prior mayors. We have all four currently surviving living mayors here with us today, and so I will introduce them. So if they can hear me, I've got Mayor John Fido, who served from 1979 to 1992. We've got Mayor Gary Doty, served from 1992 to 2004. And we have Mayor Don Ness, who served from 2008 to 2015. And we have Mayor Emily Larson, who served from 2016 to 2024. We also have with us, who will be doing the invocation, Pastor Brian Brinkert. And we have the Honorable Judge Dale Harris, who will be doing the swearing-in ceremony in just a little bit. And I suppose I better not forget to call down our current mayor-elect, Mayor Roger Reinert. And before I start in on the pledge, I just want to make one other announcement that the City Council and the new City Council members will be sworn in this Thursday prior to the agenda session at 4:45 p.m. And hope folks can come and see the swearing in of the new councilors as well. So if you would all rise, stand with me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So for our invocation, Pastor Brian Brinkert.
Let's pray. Gracious God, at the dawn of this new year, we are thankful for all those who are taking responsibility of leadership within our city. Along with that gratitude, we remember that the call to leadership is ultimately a call to service. And the authority to set direction and make decisions is meant to be rooted in a heart of stewardship. So may your hand be upon all those that have been given this charge of leadership in this season. Specifically today, we ask for your blessing on our new mayor, Roger Reinert, and the new administration that begins here in 2024. We ask for the ongoing gift of curiosity that can lead to an ever-deepening understanding of the opportunities and the challenges that are before us. And to go with that awareness, grant the courage and the strength needed to face those items head on. We ask for tenacious persistence to dream, to imagine what could and should be, and for creative solutions to emerge to see those ideas come to fruition. We ask that you would give all those that lead the humility to continually seek common ground, the patience to persevere, and the wisdom to discern the best path forward, whatever that might be. In all these pursuits, we ask for the flourishing of this great city and for the well-being of all its citizens, both in this new year and in the many years to come. In your holy name, amen.
Now I'd like to call up the Honorable Judge Dale Harris and Mayor-elect Roger Reinert for the swearing in.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Roger J. Reinert,
I, Roger J. Reinert,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Duluth City Charter,
and the Duluth City Charter,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
honestly, and impartially
honestly, and impartially
perform the duties of my office
perform the duties of my office
as Mayor of Duluth
as Mayor of Duluth
for the duration of my appointment.
for the duration of my appointment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you, everyone. I am so incredibly grateful and honored that you would take time out of your day to be here today. Busy days are busy days, especially after a holiday weekend. And so really appreciate you making the time to be a part of this inauguration ceremony to help mark this important day of transition. And it is with great honor and humility that I step into this role as your 40th mayor for the city of Duluth. I want to take a moment and thank Dave Montgomery for not only emceeing today, but also stepping out of retirement and back into city service as our next city administrator. And I also want to recognize Jessica Freilich. There's a lot of folks out there. I know Jessica's here somewhere, who I have nominated as our next city attorney. I appreciate both of them here, exceptional professionals who are working with our other exceptional professionals in a smooth transition in those offices, and I'm eager to work with them on behalf of our community. Thank you to my friend Brian Brinkert. Brian, I think you knew God was calling me back to service long before I did, or maybe at least before I was willing to listen. So Brian's being here is special. He's been on this journey with me for longer than I knew I was. And Judge Harris, you've now done me the great service of not just administering today's oath, but also putting your Navy captain's uniform back on to receive my first salute when I was promoted to commander in 2021. So appreciate you being part of two really significant life events. Thank you. And I also want to acknowledge our many distinguished guests today, state legislators, county commissioners. I know Tribal Chair Dupuy is here today. Leadership from the 148th Air National Guard, mayors from our near neighbors, city councilors, past, current, and future, and current City of Duluth leadership. Thank you all for your presence today. And I want to say a special thank you to our former mayors who have joined us today. You know, we were chatting a little bit upstairs before we came down, and I don't know that any of us could recall all of the living mayors being together at the same time. So a significant day for our community. But Mayor Fido, Mayor Doty, Mayor Ness, Mayor Larson, your presence here is genuinely and gratefully appreciated. You know, in the history of Duluth, there have been a total now of 40 mayors, but 6 of those individuals served more than once, not consecutive terms, but served more than once. So that means in the 167-year history of Duluth, only 34 people have ever done this job. You know, some are names we know. Clarence Magney, who went on to serve not only as mayor, but to become a Minnesota Supreme Court justice. Sam Snively, who of course served 4 terms, promised to make Duluth the most beautiful city in what then was known as the Northwest, and left us the legacy of Seven Bridges Road and Skyline Parkway. But there are names as well that maybe we have forgotten. Our first mayor, Joshua Culver. Charles Graves, a Civil War hero who went on to be the Speaker of the Minnesota House and a U.S. ambassador, first to Sweden and then Norway. And let's not forget George D. Johnson, who was succeeded by George W. Johnson. How very Minnesotan. Each of these individuals not only left their mark on the office of mayor, but they also left their mark on our community. And from each of the mayors that are with us today, I have witnessed something that I will carry into my service. And I should caveat, this is not to reflect their entire collection of service, but they're things that came immediately to mind as I thought of each of these individuals. Mayor Fido, you showed us the value in thinking outside the box, in reinventing ourselves. That what many saw as junk and salvage yards along the shores of Lake Superior could become something we now call Canal Park, a premier destination in the state of Minnesota and a favorite place to visit for both tourists and locals alike. Mayor Doty, you showed us what it looked like to focus on business and on our economy and to be mindful of our tax burden. And with the addition of Cirrus, now the world's leading producer of piston-powered aircraft for over a decade, you turned Duluth into an aviation hub. Mayor Ness, you showed us what it looked like to lead in really difficult times, to confront challenges that many said could not be solved, and to find those tangible, practical ways to move our city forward. I think it's easily forgotten. Unfunded retiree health care, sanitary sewer overflows, and persistent budget deficits. And Mayor Larson, you showed us what it looked like to lead with compassion, to be a community where all were truly welcome and more so included, to bring the heart of a social worker to the too often unfeeling and dispassionate work of government, to do what many say and few actually accomplish, to give voice in our society to those who do not have voice. And I want to take a moment to also remember someone many of us, including myself, considered a personal friend, Mayor Herb Bergson. You know, Herb was the only person to ever serve as mayors of both Duluth, Minnesota and Superior, Wisconsin. I remember having breakfast with him at Big Apple Bagel in Superior, of all places, when he told me he wanted to run for mayor. He was a city councilor, of course, at the time. I'll be mayor of both Superior and Duluth. Okay. Herb showed us all what it looked like to love. Herb wore his heart on his sleeve, and if you spent any time at all with Herb, any time at all, you watched him give that heart away over and over and over again. Herb, you are missed, and I know that your spirit is with us in this place today. And I want to also say a few words about why this place today. It's not the easiest or the most convenient, to be sure. I appreciate the many of you who are willing to stand, since the rotunda only seats so many. And I know there was fighting over chairs, so I appreciate the bouncers who are trying to negotiate that on my behalf. I'm to blame. Sure, it would have been easier to do it somewhere else. But this is the place we do the work. This is the place you all come with your ideas, with your hopes, with your challenges and with your problems. This is the place we ask our best and brightest to join the city team and be your partners. And this is the place Duluthians who came before us built for just these purposes. You know, this is our third City Hall building. In Duluth's early days, city government operated out of offices above a saloon on Superior Street. In 1889, we upgraded to the historic Oliver Traphagen building at 132 East Superior Street. You know, I love that that building had a balcony for the mayor to address the citizens of Duluth. Though, in doing my research, Tony Durkins assures me that no mayor ever actually used it for that purpose. Seems like an opportunity lost. The City Hall we are in today opened in 1928, a historic space, certainly in its own right, but next to a county courthouse designed by the world-famous Daniel Burnham, famous, of course, for Chicago's World Fair of 1893, and the Veterans Monument just outside these doors, created by noted architect Cass Gilbert, who many will recognize for many famous projects, including the Minnesota State Capitol and the United States Supreme Court building. Ground for this building was broken in March of 1927, and that July, 5,000 people stood outside to watch the cornerstone being laid. There was a parade, there were speeches, and WEBC radio carried the entire thing live. And of course, today we now live stream things as we're doing here this afternoon. You know, City Hall took about a year to complete and was dedicated on Armistice Day 1928, or what we now know as Veterans Day. And I think it's just humbling to know that the same space that we all have called our office is a place that Mayor Sam Snively first called his office. Grounds you in that history. So maybe you were in City Hall for the first time today because of today's ceremony. Maybe you've been here before because you had a meeting or some other city business. Maybe you are one of our nearly 900 city employees, many of whom get the honor of calling this historic building your office. No matter what brought you today, I invite you to take a moment to look around, to take in this physical space. Note the marble. Note the detail of the frescoes. Note the fleur-de-lis in the ceiling. Note the bust that is a little hard to see right now of Albert Wilson, the last surviving Civil War veteran. You know, you also likely recognize the statue outside the historic St. Louis County Depot of Albert. You may not know there's an exact replica of that statue just outside the Visitor Center at the Battle of Gettysburg Monument. Note the plaque and the bust to my left, recognizing and honoring Medal of Honor recipient Mike Colillo. You know, I looked it up. Mike's citation for his Medal of Honor reads in part, he ran forward in the wake of a supporting tank, firing his machine pistol. Inspired by his example, his comrades advanced in the face of savage enemy fire. When his weapon was struck by shrapnel and rendered useless, he climbed onto the deck of a friendly tank, manning an exposed machine gun in the turret of that vehicle, and while bullets rattled about him, he fired at an enemy emplacement with devastating accuracy. Now, for my West Duluth friends that are here today, you might appreciate that in the World War II Museum in New Orleans, there's a about 2-story tall wall honoring Medal of Honor recipients. And it tells their stories. You can push a button and hear about each one. And it's told in their own voices if they were able to do that. So of course, I'm from Duluth. I go find Mike. I push the button. They're interviewing Mike, and Mike is asked how he found the courage and inspiration to do what he did. And he said, well, you see, I grew up in a tough neighborhood in western Duluth called Raleigh Street. Maybe not our best advertisement, but it was, if you know, you know, right? So my friends, I share all of this with you because it's ceremonies like this when we can, that we should. There will be other opportunities to speak more directly to taxes and the budget and city services, talk about streets and utilities and public safety, our parks and our libraries and our community centers, to discuss housing and tax-based development and city infrastructure in downtown Duluth. We will do much of that in my State of the City speech somewhere around the 100-day mark. And that's when I plan to share details around the vision for my term and the administration. But days like today are meant to be marked, to be a bit ceremonial, to appreciate time, to appreciate history, and to appreciate place. My fellow Duluthians, this place is special. Our community is special. The city we get to call home, Duluth, Minnesota, is special. The greatest port on the greatest of the Great Lakes. To paraphrase our old friend, chamber friend, David Ross, the Emerald City, the Zenith City, our shining city on the hill is special. I stand here today in this place filled with both excitement and a sense of profound responsibility, a responsibility that comes with this office. We spent months talking about the work, and now we get to do it. You have entrusted me with Duluth's next chapter, and I do not take that responsibility lightly. I love this place with a passion, and I sure hope you do too. Duluth, thank you for calling me to this service. The title of mayor is an important one, but so is that of Duluthian. In that title, we find our history, we find our sense of place, and we find our shared civic pride. Thank you all again for being here today and for joining me on this journey. We have work to do, and we all have a part to play in that work. So now, let's go get after it. Thank you.